Good afternoon, everyone. Sharice Jarvis Hill here, president and founder of Events to Remember and PR to Remember. And I have a treat for you for our Coffee with Cher session this afternoon. Miss Mrs. Elena Rivera-Cheek, C&A Digital, CEO and founder, hashtag rockstar. So happy to have you here with me today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
So happy to be invited for coffee with you. Thank
Yes.
you.
So let's cheers it up, girl.
Yes, let's do it. Cheers.
Right. I love the branding. Love it.
This is what we do.
hmm
Yes,
This is what
yes.
we do. All right, so let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Because I want everyone to kind of know your story.
Mhm.
I know your story. I was on your podcast. I think so highly of you. I think that you're just amazing. So I want you to kind of tell our listeners because this podcast is for entrepreneurs, about entrepreneurs, really us kind of telling our story to help the next generation. So tell us your story. Tell us a little bit about how you got started and how you built C&A Digital.
Yeah, so happy to do so. I have to say thank you so much for the invite. Let's start where we should start. I'm happy to be here and talking to you. Um, I started in the big agency world. I thought that that's, what I wanted. So to take a step back, undergraduate, I was an English major. And back in the day, you were either going to become a teacher or a lawyer with that. And I
hmm
didn't want to really do either, although both attracted me in different ways. Um, got out of school, realized journalism didn't pay because that's kind of what I went into, and decided to go back to school to learn the business side of what I had started to love, which is marketing and media. So I
hmm
got this MBA in media management from the Metropolitan College of New York. Not a really well-known school, but a really great school for hands-on education. So
hmm
shout out to MCNY. And really, they taught you there how to become an entrepreneur,
hmm
which I was not thrilled about. They said basically, class two, you're starting a business. Come to us with your business name and what you're going to do. I started an ad agency, surprisingly.
hmm
But what it taught me to do was really think about the business side of
hmm
my skill set.
hmm
And that's something that I know you're committed to doing for the next generation, and I am too, which is how do we find our talents and skills and how do we find a way to monetize that? Because in
hmm
the real world, dreams are fluffy and they're nice, but we got to pay the bills. We
Yes,
need to pay the
ma'am.
bills. We want to buy cars, we want to buy houses, we might want to have kids, we might want to put them in schools. Like we have to pay the bills. So how do we take those skills that we're blessed with from birth and how do we turn them into talents that are actually going to further our life?
hmm
So that's what I did. I went to school, learned a little bit more, went into the agency world, fell in love. And cool stories there, but bottom line was I fell in love with the business,
hmm
but I didn't fall in love with the corporate culture.
mm
And I used to live in White Plains and I used to get on the train and I would stand on the platform at White Plains and I would watch all the people getting off to go to work in White Plains. And I
hmm
was like, oh, it sucks that I live here, but I have to go to the city to do
City.
this really cool thing.
Yeah.
And so I just decided, I was like, once I had kind of had my first child, realized how corporate was going to treat me as
Yeah.
mom. I was vice president by then. It didn't even matter.
hmm
Um, I started, to work on my own. That's 15 years ago now. I
hmm
got pregnant with my second baby and really started the formation of C&A and started it from a house about a mile and a half from here.
hmm
And now we're, at One North Broadway in White Plains. And it's been a really cool ride for 13 years.
I love it. And look at that is her physical office. That's not like a screen saver or anything like that. That's her office. She has the most beautiful office in downtown White Plains, but you feel like you're kind of in the city when you're in your office. I'm sure that was intentional. But your office definitely has like that cool New York City vibe.
Thank you. We were absolutely going for that. We thought, why do you have to go to New York City? There are so many cool brands here in Westchester. So
Yeah.
many big corporate brands, middle brands, like
Yeah.
small brands that are right here. And they wanted that top-notch New York City experience. They no longer have to go to New York City.
Mhm.
So that's what we try to emulate here.
Yeah, no, love it. Okay, so Elena, what sets you apart from others that are in your industry? Tell us a little bit about kind of your secret sauce.
Yeah, I think the secret sauce is probably around a few things. One is passion and
Hmm.
the passion for the work that we do. That translates into our hiring practices. So
Hmm.
the team that we have here is second to none. You'll find great people who know how to do the do in terms of like the skills, but in terms of the passion they bring and the love they bring to the work they do, I think
Yeah.
that's what clients um both in the middle sector, but in our big corporate clients, they see that.
Hmm.
I like to use our big corporate clients because they can go anywhere with their budgets, right? They
Yeah.
don't have to choose CNA.
Hmm.
So when they choose CNA and they have any agency that exists that they can work with, when they choose us, you start to ask why. And
Hmm.
well, here's the people, definitely the skill sets. The people that come from here did come from many of the leadership team members came from big agencies and
Hmm.
very big names. So we kind of learned how to work in that big corporate environment and how do you take those practices and translate them to every client we have. And we treat
Hmm.
every client like a big corporate client because we love them all.
Yeah.
But what sets us apart is our expertise and our passion and the team by far.
Hmm. And there's something to be said. I mean, I started in corporate as well, and I don't regret any of that experience because you really do. Like people say I run my company is small, right? There's six of us. People say we run it like a big corporation, and I feel like that is because of the corporate foundation. You know,
But that's why you're successful, right?
yeah, you
Because
do.
you understand,
Yeah.
because you understand that your team can do these huge events that you do. You have a masterful team of six that can put on these amazing events. Well, that's because you kind of learned,
That
with the big
foundation.
guys, and then you
Yeah.
can translate that across. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Um, so what's new for you? Anything new and exciting happening at
Yes. So
CNA?
I'm glad you asked. This is my favorite question. There are three things that are new. So I
Okay.
wish I could tell you there were one, but I'm going to make them short. The first is certainly AI. I think
Mm,
it's new for us. I think it's everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. But I
yeah.
think in terms of artificial intelligence, how a firm like ours and our clients can be leveraging it is we're just getting started. And I really can tell you that one of the mistakes I made in my business career was I got on the social train a little late, right?
Mm,
I'll just tell you what I mean by that. When it became clear that social media was going to be a thing for businesses, I was a little reluctant. I'm not going to lie to you. It's one of the if you can look back and say, hey, hindsight is 2020. I definitely didn't believe that there was a place for business in social. And I
mm,
was wrong,
mm,
right? So I got on the train and now we serve clients with social. We're exceptional. But I
mm,
wasn't like one of those early adopters,
yeah.
right? With
Mm,
technology. And here, we didn't make that mistake again. AI, we saw it, we knew it was coming. And for years, we've been
mm,
mastering the AI that is going to implement practices and strategies that help our clients. So the good news is we're not learning with everybody else. We've been doing this for years. So I'm not late on this train.
train.
And so that's really been helpful to us and to our clients. I would
Mm,
say this is not new, but I'm finding a newfound love for workshops and kind
mm,
of business workshops that we do for either AI or business planning or strategy planning, mission and vision and branding, or those like kind of foundational workshops. But there's like a newfound love. And I think it might be that people were apart for all these years.
I'm
And
sure
people,
it is. I'm
and
sure.
I don't know if that's the reason why, but I think
I
it's
think it's one
because
of them at
that
least. I think it's
it
definitely
has
one of
to
them.
be. Because there's like this thing that happens when we're all in the same room and we're asking the right questions and people are in the room putting dots on answers and engaging and
Hmm.
healthy debating. That just as much as I love Zoom and
Hmm.
virtual, it just can't be replicated.
Can't.
The other thing that's very, very relevant to our industry in marketing and in agency world is the hyper consolidation of agencies. So
Mm-hmm.
these huge agencies are buying all the little guys. Now, this has
Mm-hmm.
always happened, right?
Okay.
This is how the big guys get big.
Hmm.
They don't really build big agencies. They buy little agencies and they become bigger
Merge them.
agencies.
Hmm.
Now, that is becoming really, really pervasive. Now, how that impacts us is there are very few. independents left that
Mm,
aren't getting kind of swallowed up. And so I think that that benefits our clients because they're kind of finding us and they're
yeah.
going, oh my God, it's like we have the big agency offering, but with that small boutique agency attention, love, and feel. So you
Mm,
don't sacrifice like the strategic prowess or the creative. You just
love
kind of
that.
get all of it, but in a
Mhm.
small agency feel, where the bigger agencies, they're kind of,
They just
there's
can't
a
do
lot
it. Yeah.
they can't do it with the same love. They don't,
Yeah.
it's a different environment that they work in. So of
Hmm.
course they're not going to bring the same heat that we do.
Yeah. No, in that boutique, there's nothing like it. There really is that attention to detail, really giving your clients that extra love. So I love that. Well, that's good stuff that's happening.
It is great stuff. We're really excited about 2025.
All right. So this is my favorite question, and I know you're gonna have some gems for this one. So, since Coffee with Cher, like I created this podcast to really be able to help other entrepreneurs that are, someone who's thinking about this journey or someone who is just beginning this journey and finding it difficult, or someone who's been doing it for a long time that's really hitting a rough patch. Because, look, you've been in business for a long time, I've been in business for a long time, and we think about the different stages of the ups and downs, right?
Uh,
So, Elena, give some advice for any of those different scenarios that I shared. You pick whichever one you want or one or two, but share some of the gems because I know that, you're a motivation for many business owners. And, I'd love to hear your perspective on, just what things that they might be able to do.
sure. So I'll give, I can't say it's kind of unique advice before the entrepreneur that's kind of budding, right? Doesn't exist yet. They're kind of contemplating it. I'll give the favorite advice that my one of my professors at MCNY gave me, Professor Kirpus. Shout out to Professor Kirpus. He's still my friend on Facebook. Um, he told me, he said, listen, I think you can actually do this. And I was like, I don't have any intention of starting an agency. And he's like, right, but I think you can do it. He's like, I said, you say this to all the students. And he's like, so I don't. I was like, I think he did. Anyway, his point was work in industry for 5 years. Work at the firm you would want to be when you grew up.
Mm,
Find that firm and work with them for 5 years. You're going to learn the nuts and the bolts. You're going to learn the ins and the outs. You're going to learn on their dime.
mm-hmm,
When you start as an entrepreneur, you learn on your dime. Every
mm-hmm,
mistake you pay for.
mm-hmm,
Every glory is yours, but every mistake is yours too. So take those critical 5 years and learn on someone else. So go into court. I did. I went to some of the top agencies in New York City and I learned with them.
mm-hmm,
So I would say anybody who's looking to be an entrepreneur in a segment, this also helps with this very pervasive issue of immediate gratification. Everybody wants to win today. They see these entrepreneurs that are instant millionaires. That's not reality.
mm-hmm.
Get it out of your head.
Yeah.
Like we were bootstrapped. We were not PC backed. Like we don't have
Mm-hmm.
people giving us money and 58 investors. We're
Yeah.
bootstrapped. I'm
Yeah.
old school growth.
Yeah.
So I'm going to teach people to go do it the old school way. So learn
Mm-hmm.
about them and then think about whether you want to do it. Then side gig it. Don't give
Mm-hmm.
up your day job. We all
Mm-hmm.
have to pay bills. Side gig is side gig. That's hard because now you have a full-time job and a side gig.
Yeah.
And then when you see that you have enough side gig that you can take the leap, take it. I am a little bit more conservative. Even that's how I built my business. So I'm
Yeah.
not going to
Me
tell anybody,
too. Same way.
right?
Same way. Yeah. And I just think it gives you a taste of what's coming, right? If you can work full time and side gig it, like that is going to be your life because in the beginning you're working your butt off, so you really got to see if you got that energy to do it.
I
So
think I'm working my butt off more now than I did
it
13 years
doesn't
ago.
stop.
It
It
doesn't
doesn't
stop.
stop.
But I enjoy it and I knew what I was in for. I kind of
Yeah.
understood, to the extent that you can understand because you really can't. So I
Mm-hmm.
would say, that's my advice for someone who's going for it.
Mm-hmm.
And for the person who is in it and having a hard time, I would just say, hold on. Certainly take a look at what's causing the hard patch. There's something causing it, right? There's going to be a lot of environmental things happening. but there's going to be stuff that's within your sphere of control.
Mm-hmm.
What is in your sphere of control that you can fix? And then get to work on fixing it so you can get yourself out of pain as soon as possible
Mm-hmm.
as a as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. And
Yeah.
then hold on,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of these things, success and failure, Cher, don't happen in 2 seconds, right? It's over many, many decisions. So
Yeah.
chances are, if we're in pain,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of things precipitated that. Very rare is the moment that blows you up. Although I've had that too, right? I've had the moment that blew me up too. So I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. I'm just going
Yeah.
to say more likely success and failure is a long-term result.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just say, like, dissect the reason we're in a hard patch, really get to work on fixing those soft spots, and
Mm-hmm.
then endure and hold on. I hope that was good advice.
That was awesome advice. I literally could sit here and talk to you all day, but we
You
both have
know?
to get back to work.
Yes.
So tell everyone where they can find you, and we'll definitely add this in the show notes.
Amazing. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Elena Rivera-Cheek, and certainly at CNA Digital NY.com. And I gotta say, it was such a pleasure having coffee with you.
Of
Thank you for the
course.
invite.
Thank you for
It's so
being here.
valuable what you're doing here.
Oh,
Um,
it's
these
my pleasure. I
conversations.
enjoy it. I love it.
Thank you. Yes, I can tell.
So, all right, my friend, I will see you soon. I'll see you somewhere at one of these networking events. Much
You
gratitude.
got it. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, same here.
All
Bye.
right.